Chapter 5 Dashed Hopes. Alistair was speechless. Someone in the forest had tried to kill them, and Alistair had saved them. He looked around fearfully. Were they still? As if reading their minds, Alistair said, "Not worry, gone away." Then, to Alistair's amazement, he unbuttoned his shirt and peeled off the khaki shorts Macy had made for him. He melted into the bushes and in a few moments came back wearing only a thin vine around his waist and soft, broad leaves made into a loincloth. "Friends go home," he said. "Lestani go barrio alone." "But, Lestani," said Sandy Sutherland, "we want to ask your family about coming back with us to learn English and go to the farm school." Lestani asked, "Lestani come back." He gave them a reassuring grin and a wave, tucked his shirt and shorts under his arm, and then disappeared into the dense undergrowth of graceful ferns and wide elephant leaves. Father and son listened, but they heard nothing except drip, drip, drip from the trees and the occasional screech of a parrot. Sandy Sutherland shrugged. "I guess we go home, lad. Lestani probably felt safer going the rest of the way without us." Alistair was only glad to follow in step behind his father on the narrow trail as they descended the mountain. "But, Papa," he said, "who tried to kill us with the blowgun? It wasn't a Lestani's people, was it?" "I didn't think so, lad," said his father. "Maybe a scout from another tribe who didn't recognize Lestani as Palawanos with town clothes on. And we had no goods to trade, so maybe they were trying to scare us off." Alistair tried to keep his footing on the damp, slick path. "But, Papa, Lestani's Lambo's charm didn't really warn him about the danger, did it? I mean, that's all just superstition." "Isn't it?" "Some of their beliefs are superstition, yes," said his father. "But Satan and his evil spirits are very real. The Palawanos give them even more power because they fear them and don't know the good news about Jesus, who broke the power of the evil one. But as for the Lambos charm..." Sandy Sutherland fell quiet for a long time. Alistair was going to ask him again when his father said, "I canna say what happened, lad, but I don't want to believe in good luck. We must thank our Heavenly Father for sparing our lives." It's true. 1 week went by, then 2, then 3, and still no sign of Lestani. "When is Lestani coming back?" whimpered Craigie one night at bed as the Sutherlands gathered for family prayers. The little boy had gotten used to having another big brother. "Maybe he got killed by the man with the glow gun," offered Glenn helpfully. "Stop it, Glenn," snapped Alistair. "Lestani's too smart to get himself killed. He saved Papa and me, remember?" Alistair was surprised at how much he missed the Palawanos boy. Sure, it was nice having his own bed back, but somehow the days seemed longer and emptier without Lestani and his good-natured determination to learn English and try new ways. "Why didn't his family let him come back?" Heather wondered sadly. Well, we don't know that he wanted to come back, but I imagine his family was very glad to see him and wanted to keep him a while." Macy Sutherland tried to sound cheerful. "Aye, maybe we were selfish to want him to come back," Sandy Sutherland admitted. "But God knows Joy Ritterhoff is on her way to the Philippines and that we need a translator to do the gospel records. We must pray and leave the whole matter in our Heavenly Father's hands." Alistair heard the hint of disappointment in his parents' voices, but he felt a little mad at Lestani for not coming back, and mad at God, too, for raising his parents' hopes and Mr. Edwards' hopes about the gospel records. The next day in school, Alistair had just finished reciting the principal rivers in Africa and had taken his seat when he glanced out the window. A familiar figure in a rumpled white skirt and khaki shorts was striding up the lane. "Lestani!" he cried. Immediately, All the school children rushed for the windows. Lestani, Apo, hello, they cried. Glenn and Craigie and the other younger ones hopped up and down excitedly. Alistair couldn't help grinning as the mountain boy walked into the chapel school, his long dark hair bound up on the side. Palawanos fashion. Palawanos fashion. I come back, he said simply. That evening, the Sutherland household invited Mr. and Mrs. Edwards to a welcome back supper for Lestani. It was a noisy celebration, with everyone trying to talk at once. Finally, when everyone had had their fill of savory goat stew and ganatan, the sweet dessert of yam, sweet potato, and bananas and coconut milk, Sandy Sutherland pushed back his plate. I think I'll walk down to the telegraph office, he said with a silly grin. Anyone want to go along? Everyone wanted to go along. The adults walked along the soft, warm sand of the beach toward the town, while the children raced at the edge of the water, squealing as the lip of the tide rushed in and wet their feet. At the telegraph office, combination weather station, shipping office, and post office, the Filipino attendant asked to whom the telegram should be sent. To Joy Ritterhoff, said Sandy Sutherland, in care of the Far East Broadcasting Company, Manila. Message, said the attendant, licking the tip of his pencil. The Scottish pastor handed him a slip of paper. The attendant read it aloud. Welcome. Stop. Large opportunity for records here. Stop. Signed, Pastor Sandy Sutherland, Brooks Point, Palawan. Lestani's English improved remarkably in the weeks and months that followed his return to Brooks Point. He was an eager student, always asking questions, never shy to admit he didn't know something. By the time Alistair turned 12, Lestani had worked his way through the first, second, and third English reader and began learning Filipino. English and Filipino were both official languages in the Philippines. The boy has a gift, said Mr. Edwards admiringly, hearing Lestani read one evening at the Sutherland home. Once he completes 2 years at the farm school, we should maybe think about a college education. Slow down, Harry, laughed Sandy Sutherland. One thing at a time. Harry Edwards grinned. Hey, an export businessman has to think big. And a Christian missionary has to think even bigger, he teased. Alistair slouched behind his 6th grade mathematics book doing his homework, perked up his ears. He liked Mr. Edwards's gung-ho approach to everything. Alistair hadn't told anyone yet, but sometimes he thought about being a Christian businessman like Mr. Edwards, not on Palawan Island, but maybe somewhere else in the Philippines, or maybe Australia, or why not Africa or South America? His papa always said Mr. Edwards was kind of like a missionary too, concerned about the welfare of his workers and the people in the area, and a faithful supporter of the local church. It's already January, said Sandy Sutherland, interrupting Alistair's thoughts. Do we know when she's coming? Everyone knew who she was, Joy Ritterhoff. Harry Edwards shook his head. I've been meeting every island steamer. They're running pretty regularly now that the rainy season is past, but no passengers. That's all right, said Macy Sutherland. We can use the time. Lestani is helping me translate some gospel choruses into Palawano, she laughed. I tell him the word or phrase in English, and he says something in Palawano. I write down what the words sound like. Miss Ritterhoff's letter said they like to include Christian songs if they can. Oh, that's nice of her. Some of the schoolgirls volunteered to sing, but we still need some time to practice. Aye, there are still several months before Lestani has to leave for school, agreed Alistair's father. Me too. Don't forget, piped up Alistair. Sometimes he felt as if no one remembered that he was going away to boarding school in June. His parents, the Edwardses, the members of Brooks Chapel Church, the chapel school, everyone was excited about the arrival of Joy Ritterhoff. Lestani was excited about the recording project, too, but for a different reason. At least one week, the Palawano's boy went to the market to admire Robbie's knife. The Morrow's boy still ignored Alistair, but he had not made any other threats, so Alistair usually tagged along. One day, Lestani got bold and said, "I would like to buy your knife." Robbie raised his eyebrows. "Your English is very good, Lestani, but my knife is not for sale." Seeing Lestani's disappointment, the Muslim boy hasted to add, "Perhaps I can get one like it for you. But do you have money?" Lestani shook his head. "No, I have not the money now, but I will soon." He drew himself up proudly. I am going to, how do you say it? Put English words into Palawano for American woman." "American woman?" said Ravi, his eyes narrowing. "There is no American woman in Brooks Point." "But Joy woman is coming," said Lestani stubbornly. "She will pay money. Please find good knife with fine handle. I want to buy." The moderate weather months of January, February, and March of 1950 passed, and gradually the temperature began to rise. School break arrived in April, and still Miss Ritterhoff had not arrived. Every time an island steamer tooted its whistle and anchored offshore, the children scampered to the beach to see if it was a boatie. A small dinghy with a gas motor would bring back a passenger, but it was not the mail. But it was only the mail. Bags of rice and trade goods from Mr. Edwards. During the school break, Mr. Edwards took Lestani with him on some of his trading trips into the mountains to practice translating from English directly into Palawano. "He's wonderful," Mr. Edwards reported enthusiastically after Lestani's first trip. "No middleman, no loss of meaning going from English to Tagalong to Palawano. The Palawanos seem very proud of him. I told you this boy would open the door to wonderful new things for the Palawanos tribes." But as the weeks passed, they did not hear from Miss Ritterhoff, and the Edwardses and Sutherlands met to face the unthinkable. Miss Ritterhoff might not come. "I don't understand it," said Mr. Edwards. Disappointment was etched in his face. "She seemed very willing to put Palawan into her schedule while she was here in the Philippines." "It's more than 6 months since she arrived in Manila," said Sandy Sutherland. "Maybe she had to return to Los Angeles and did not know how to contact us." "A letter may yet come, explaining," said Macy gently. "You know how slow the mail is in the islands." Mr. Edwards sighed. "If she is not on the next steamer, we must send Lestani. Otherwise, he will not arrive in time for the beginning of the farm school." Sandy Sutherland nodded. "Yes, Alistair, too. I plan to go with the boys and take Alistair all the way to Manila and get him settled in the boarding school." Alistair had a headache. He had had one all day, but listening to his father, his heart skipped a beat. He was sorry about the recording project, but he couldn't help feeling excited about a trip by steamer 500 miles to Manila. It would be fun traveling with Lestani the first couple of days. At boarding school, he would meet lots of new friends, Filipino, American, English, African, children of missionary diplomats, government officials, and business people. And finally, he would get a chance to play basketball. Lestani's voice broke into Alistair's thoughts. "You say the Joy woman is not coming?" the Palawanos boy asked curtly. Mr. Edwards shrugged helplessly. "We don't know, Lestani. But the next boat must take you and Alistair to school." We are very, very sorry, Lestani," said Miss Macy Sutherland gently. The Palawanos boy said nothing, but turned and walked swiftly out of the house, heading for town. "Go with him, lad," Sandy Sutherland said to Alistair. "But, Papa, I have a headache." "Go now, lad. Lestani needs a friend right now." Alistair sighed and let the screen door slam behind him. He didn't feel like rushing after Lestani, who was already halfway down the lane toward town. But he followed, trying to keep Lestani in sight so he could catch up to him. When Lestani turned into Market Street, Alistair muttered, "Should have known." The market stalls were being taken down, and food and handcrafts reloaded into caribou carts or large gunny sacks. Sure enough, Lestani was talking to Ravi as the Moros boy loaded the fish buckets onto the family's caribou cart. The two older boys did not see Alistair as he came closer and stood behind the next stall. "What do you mean you cannot buy the knife?" Ravi demanded. "I bought one from my uncle's friend who makes knives to sell to you. If you do not buy, I will lose my money." "I am sorry much," pleaded Lestani. "I want to buy, but American woman has not come, and now I must go to farm school. I leave on next boat." "Huh," snorted Ravi, banging the fish buckets into the cart. "There never was an American woman. It was a lie." He whirled on Lestani. "Now you know. The white Christians, they are using you. They never intended to pay you any money. That was just fish bait to get you to go to school and learn English. Then they will use you to exploit the Palawanos people." "Exploit?" said Lestani in a puzzled voice. Alistair wished he could sit down. His head hurt, and he felt both hot and cold at the same time. What in the world was Ravi talking about? It wasn't a lie. It just didn't happen. Yes, exploit. Talk sweet to Palawanos to get the Almaca gum, labor, whatever they want, but they will not pay. "But what about farm school? I should not go?" said Lestani. Ravi laughed harshly. Then he lowered his voice. Alistair had to strain to hear. "No, let the American pay for the farm school. You will learn much to benefit your people. But do not swallow their Christian God. Pretend to believe it. Then, when you are finished, denounce the infidels. Go back to your people. Use what you have learned to help your tribe, not the Christian liars." Alistair wanted to go home. He wanted a drink of water. He would talk to Lestani later, tell him it wasn't true, what Ravi said. Alistair turned to go, but he felt dizzy. He tripped over a bundle of bamboo poles and sprawled on the ground. Then he heard Lestani's voice. It sounded close and far away at the same time. "Alistair, Alistair, why are you lying on the ground?" "He's burning up, Ravi. Very bad fever. Here, help me get him up." "I must take him home." Alistair lay in his bed, teeth chattering, hair and clothes damp against his skin, and the Filipino doctor examined him. The doctor straightened up. "Malaria," he said crisply. All the symptoms. Chills, fever, sweating. I'll test his blood sample to be sure, but—" "Malaria," said Alistair's mother. "But he's supposed to leave on the next steamer for boarding school." "Not this time," said the doctor dryly, shaking his head. "The fever will return every 2 or 3 days for a while. Then he will need to rest for several weeks. Give him these tablets each day. A new medicine supposed to be better than quinine." Alistair closed his eyes and groaned. No, it wasn't fair. Not go to school? If he didn't go now, he'd have to wait another whole year. Poor Alistair. Do you think he's ever going to get there? End of chapter 5.